The morning sun bathed the savannah in gold, and the familiar sounds of the African wild filled the air. Yet beneath the surface of this ordinary day, an extraordinary drama was about to unfold. One that began with a trapped lion and a black gorilla, guided by an instinct no one could have foreseen. The fierce African sun blazed over the dense emerald canopy of the rainforest. The chirping of birds intertwined with the constant drone of insects, creating a symphony that defined the wild. Within the vast expanse of the conservation area, life unfolded peacefully and freely, where animals lived by the harsh yet wondrous laws of nature. One morning, Sean, a seasoned ranger with sun-kissed skin and sharp, watchful eyes, set out on his routine patrol. For over a decade, he had devoted himself to this sanctuary, his love for nature and its wild inhabitants woven deeply into his life. Today, his mission was to inspect areas vulnerable to poachers, those who constantly lurked in the shadows, threatening to steal the precious lives of the forest. As Sean made his way through a dense thicket, he suddenly caught the sound of something unusual. It wasn't the familiar chorus of the native wildlife. He stopped, listening intently. A thin, weak cry laced with pain drifted through the air. Instinct told him something was wrong. Moving carefully toward the source, Sean emerged into a small clearing, and the sight before him made his heart tighten. A baby gorilla, small and emaciated, lay huddled at the base of an ancient tree. Its fur was as black as coal, its large round eyes filled with tears as it looked at Sean with fear and pleading. Beside it lay a crude, broken snare. Clearly, the little gorilla had been lucky enough to escape the poacher's trap, but perhaps its mother had not been so fortunate. Sean slowly approached, his voice gentle as he reassured the trembling creature. Sean knew that patience and compassion were key to earning the young gorilla's trust. After a moment of hesitation, the baby tentatively touched Sean's finger, forming an unexpected bond. Naming him Coco, Sean took the fragile gorilla back to the ranger station, where he quickly adapted under their devoted care. With food, safety, and love, Coco found a second chance at life. Time passed, and Coco grew. Day by day, his black fur became thicker and glossier, his body sturdy and strong. He became an indispensable member of the ranger station. A loyal companion to Sean, Coco often followed Sean on patrols, sometimes climbing high into the trees to observe the surroundings, alert to any unusual signs. He learned to recognize the sound of the poachers' vehicles and would emit warning calls to alert Sean. Sean always felt a special bond with Coco. He considered him like a son, teaching him basic survival skills and understanding his gestures and sounds. Coco also reciprocated Sean's affection with absolute loyalty and affectionate gestures. They became a living testament to the extraordinary connection that can exist between humans and the natural world. 5 years after that fateful encounter, Coco had become a mature male gorilla, powerful and intelligent. He still lived in the area near the ranger station, frequently interacting with Sean and the other staff. The conservation area retained its wild beauty and rich biodiversity, although the threat from poachers still loomed on hot midday. As Sean was resting at the station after retiring from patrol, Coco suddenly appeared. He seemed extremely agitated, repeatedly tugging at Sean's arm and making unusual calls. Quite different from his everyday communication sounds, Sean realized something was wrong. He observed Coco more closely, noticing the worry and urgency in his eyes. Coco tried to lead Sean into the deeper part of the forest, constantly looking back as if to ensure Sean was keeping up. Instinct told Sean that Coco had found something important. He quickly informed his colleagues, and together with Coco, they ventured into the woods. They went deeper inside, passing through dense thickets and small streams. Coco always led the way, occasionally stopping to make sure Sean was still following. Finally, they reached a small clearing where a heartbreaking scene unfolded. A mature male lion with a characteristic thick golden mane was hanging suspended from a large tree trunk. His hind leg was caught in a vicious snare, tightened so much that blood could be seen seeping out. The lion growled in pain and helplessness, his eyes filled with despair. Sean immediately recognized this as one of the dominant lions of the area, a symbol of strength and majesty. Its entrapment was a significant loss for the sanctuary's ecosystem. He also noticed the surrounding signs indicating that the lion had struggled to break free, all in vain. As soon as he saw the trapped lion, Coco showed great concern. He approached the lion, making small sympathetic sounds. Sean had never seen Coco react this way to another animal, especially a dangerous predator like a lion. Sean quickly assessed the situation. The snare had tightened around the lion's leg for too long, likely causing serious injury. They needed to act quickly, but also with extreme caution to avoid startling the lion and causing further danger. "We need to get him down immediately," Sean said to his colleagues who had just arrived. "Prepare the snare cutters and the tranquilizer." While waiting for the necessary equipment, Sean tried to reassure the lion with gentle words. He knew the animal was in great pain and fear. Coco also sat down nearby, watching the lion with worried eyes. When the rescue team arrived with the equipment, Sean carefully approached the lion. He administered a sufficient dose of tranquilizer to temporarily sedate the animal. Once they were sure the lion was unconscious, they began to carefully cut the snare. This task required meticulousness and extreme caution. The rope was tightly constricted, and even a small slip could cause further injury. To the lion, Sean and his colleagues coordinated smoothly, slowly, and carefully, freeing the lion from the trap. Finally, after a tense period, the snare was completely removed. Sean carefully examined the wound on the lion's leg. The cut was quite deep, showed signs of infection, and they quickly administered first aid, disinfecting the wound and bandaging it carefully. Throughout the rescue operation, Coco stayed close, observing every action of Sean and the rescue team with a worried expression. When the lion was freed and lay still on the ground, Coco gently touched its soft mane with his hand, as if to comfort it. After administering first aid, they carefully transported the lion back to the ranger station for further monitoring and treatment. Sean knew that the recovery process would take time, but he was confident that with dedicated care, the lion would soon regain his health and be able to return to the wild. At the ranger station, the lion was placed in a separate enclosure where he was closely monitored and given special care. Sean and the staff took turns feeding him, changing his bandages, and checking his health status. What surprised Sean was Coco's apparent concern for the injured lion. He frequently approached the lion's enclosure, sitting silently to observe. Sometimes he would even bring young branches or wild fruits that he had found, placing them in front of the lion's area as a gift. Initially, Sean worried that Coco's curiosity might disturb the injured lion, but the lion did not seem bothered by Coco's presence. In fact, he would sometimes gently rub his head against the separating fence as a gesture of acceptance. As time passed, the unusual relationship between the gorilla and the lion became clearer. Coco would often spend hours sitting outside the lion's enclosure watching him rest or eat. The lion also seemed accustomed to Coco's presence, no longer growling or showing aggression. When the gorilla came near, Sean and his colleagues were amazed by this extraordinary friendship. They had never witnessed such a bond between two animal species typically considered adversaries in the wild. They speculated that perhaps Coco had sensed the lion's pain and helplessness when it was trapped, and compassion had driven him to seek help and then offer companionship. After several weeks of dedicated care, the lion's wound gradually healed. He began to walk more easily, and his overall health improved significantly. Sean knew it was time for the lion to return to the wild. It was a beautiful morning, and Sean and his colleagues opened the gate to the lion's enclosure. The animal stepped out, inhaling the fresh air and looking around with apparent pleasure. Coco was also there. He approached the lion and gently touched its leg. The lion turned to look at Coco, softly rubbing his head against the gorilla as if in gratitude. Then he raised his head high, letting out a powerful roar that echoed through the forest, a farewell and an affirmation of his return. Sean and his colleagues watched the touching scene unfold, realizing they had just witnessed something truly extraordinary. The bond between Coco, the black gorilla, and the golden-maned lion had transcended the barriers of species and instinct, becoming a powerful symbol of empathy and compassion in the natural world. As the powerful lion strode deeper into the lush green forest, Coco stood silently, watching until the animal vanished from sight. Then he turned to Sean, his eyes gleaming with quiet satisfaction. In that moment, Sean knew Coco had done something truly extraordinary, not just saving a life, but forging a beautiful story of interspecies friendship in the heart of the African sanctuary. From that day on, the story of the brave black gorilla and the rescued lion echoed throughout the conservation area, serving as a powerful reminder of the importance of protecting nature and the extraordinary bonds between living beings. Sean and Coco continued their work, standing side by side as loyal companions. Together, they had written a beautiful chapter in the history of the African sanctuary. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like this story. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.